this year, Mercedes let me sit behind the wheel of the most futuristic electric car I had ever seen. EQC. That's the car we're talking about. A crossover SUV with an all-electric power plant, an all-Mercedes fit and finish, and a spec sheet that's already stirring up a few mixed feelings. The last time I was in an electric SUV, it was the Tesla Model X, and the EQC's cockpit is basically the opposite of that. Don't get me wrong, there's lots of tech here. A digital instrument cluster and head unit controlled by a big trackpad on the armrest, a heads-up display so you don't need to take your eyes off the road, and voice control. If you need the car to have itself charged by 8 a.m.
Okay, I will have the car charged by 8 a.m.
or you need to navigate to a destination, you just say, "Hey Mercedes," and tell it what you want. A few cars have that, but this one is clever enough to tell whether it's the driver or passenger talking to it. But where Tesla serves up its tech with an ultra-modern aesthetic, Mercedes takes a much more traditional tack, and honestly, I prefer it. One of the things I don't like about modern cars is the trend toward more and more touch controls. I'm sure they make the car look like a spaceship, which is great for pictures, but when you get down to driving and need to keep your eyes on the road, touchscreens are just the worst. So there's still a lot of tactility to the EQC's climate and media controls. In particular, the stereo volume knob is a big steel cylinder that's just so intense. You can control the instrument cluster and head unit by touch, but if you're driving, you've also got the option of using twin trackpads on the steering wheel. They kind of remind me of old BlackBerry touchpads. To a guy who loves technology but still came up driving 1980s cars well into the early aughts, this combination of modern conveniences and traditional controls is almost perfect. There's a good reason I started with the interior for this video. The exterior is, well, kind of looks like a lot of crossovers. Of course, that's part of the plan. Mercedes sees this as a more accessible design than the ultra-futuristic concept version, and all the commonalities with a traditional SUV mean the company can use existing factories to build the EQC. But for every 2 or 3 things I like the eyebrow headlight design and illuminated Mercedes logo that doubles as a radar, the biggest open question is a matter of a single number. Not the 400 horsepower combined motor output, nor the maximum torque of 564 foot-pounds, which can be split dynamically between front and rear motors, by the way. No, the number that has people talking is 200. That's the maximum number of miles Mercedes says you should be able to drive on one charge of the 80 kilowatt-hour battery pack. And even that figure is fuzzy at this time. That means that the EQC, which won't see a US release until 2020, is already rated for less range than the Tesla Model X, the Jaguar I-Pace, and the Audi e-tron I'll be looking at later this month. Now, 200 miles is nothing to sneeze at, of course, but as Jalopnik points out, it's strange that a company whose slogan is "the best or nothing" would settle for such a middle-of-the-road target when it comes to such an important metric as range. Please subscribe and see the links in the description for some of the well-reported stories that I referenced in the creation of this video. Until next time, thanks for watching!